Hello, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Stone, and this is your grammar lesson for this week. There is going to be a part 1 and part 2. We're going to put lessons 21 and 22 together since they're both over irregular verbs. And so after you get done with this one, you need to move on to part 2, which will also be on RenWeb. I will put it on your assignment sheet, but just in case I forget, you need to remember that there's a part 2. All right, so let's talk about irregular verbs. We've talked about main verbs, helping verbs, linking verbs, and now we're moving on to irregular verbs. Irregular verbs are the verbs that you use and you just don't add an ed. A lot of times you'll just add ed to words and make it past tense or something. Well, this one you're actually going to change the spelling of the word. So it says irregular verbs do not add ed to show the past tense. Instead, the spelling of an irregular verb changes to form the past tense. The spelling of many irregular verbs changes again when they are used with the helping verbs has, have, or had. So they've given you this chart, and probably, I haven't confirmed this, probably all the questions and things that you're going to be doing in your exercises on your practice sets are going to probably be taken off of this chart. And so it's okay to go back and look. But I'll tell you, a lot of times it's just the sound of something. When you read a sentence and you put a verb in, like the word, like if you were to say bring, okay, the past tense is not going to be bringed, all right? That's not a word. And so you're going to automatically know that it was brought. So you just have to listen to make sure it sounds right. Like there is no such word, like if you eat something, you didn't eat it yesterday. You ate it yesterday. So you actually changed the form of the word. So it says there are many irregular verbs, and here are 10 of them. And so it talks about present, past, and past with have. Now, you need to make sure that when you go to use has, have, or had, you use the correct one. And so you're going to be able to see that on your exercises that you're doing and stuff. But like I said, you're welcome to go back and look at this chart if you need some help. So let's go ahead and take a look at practice set A. I've put the pages in your the pages of the workbook on your assignment sheet, and so you shouldn't have any problems finding it. So let's take a look, and it says write the verb in parentheses that correctly completes each sentence. They were so very nice to you. Mrs. Stone is not this nice, but they were so very nice to you and gave you a choice. So at the end of this shouldn't take you very long because they've actually given you the word. They've just, you say you choose this one or this one. Choose the right one, write it on the blank. Don't circle it and then just leave it blank. It's what does directions say? It says write the verb, okay? So they want you to write it. So let's take a look at number 1. It says, a kind butcher had blank a hungry dog some meat. Okay, so you need to say, a kind butcher had gave a hungry dog some meat, or a kind butcher had given a hungry dog some meat. Well, if you go back and you look at your chart, if you look down on the chart, you know that if the word had is there, if they've already given you the word had, then it has to be given. All right, had, the has, had, or have go with certain words, and given, it has to have had in it. So we know that that should be had given. All right. The next one says, the dog blanked the meat to a bridge over a river. The dog bring the meat, okay, is something we're talking about in the past. So the dog did what? It brought the meat. All right. I want you to go ahead and finish 3 through 10 on your own, and then you're going to come back when you're finished and you're going to check your answers. Now, if you get it incorrect, remember, I do not want you to erase the answer and correct it. I want you to still correct it, but I want you to correct it above it or something like that so that your home teacher can see if you were having any problems with this. It's not going to help you if you get all the answers and not do any of the work or anything, and then it comes to quiz time and you're like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Well, yeah, you don't know how to do that because you skipped the whole learning process and you went straight to the answers. So you need to make sure that you're doing the lesson with me. So do 3 through 10 on your own, and then come back when you're ready and we'll check the answers. All right, now that you are back, let's look at number 3. It says, before he began to eat, the dog looked down. Now, why is it going to be begun? Well, because before there's no had, have, or has in there, and so it cannot be begun. It has to be began. Number 4, in the water below the bridge, another dog blank into view. It's going to be swam. Why is it not swum? Because swum has to be used with has, have, or had. Look back at your chart, and swum is only used when you have a helping verb with it. Number 5, this dog had, see that had, come to the river with meat too. Number 6, he stopped and slowly ate his meat. Okay, now if you go back and you say he stopped and slowly eaten his meat, that just doesn't sound right, all right? But eaten has to be used with the helping verb has, have, or had. Number 7, the dog on the bridge grew greedy, okay? Grown you have to use with the helping verb. If you look in your chart, it's probably there. Number 8, he made a sudden move toward the meat reflected in the water. Number 9, as soon as he had, okay, if you look back on your chart, did, as soon as he had did that, okay, no, it would be as soon as he had done that, the real meat dropped. Number 10, the hungry dog ate nothing that night. All right, so that should have been fairly simple because you knew which one you were going to use if they had the helping verb there. You knew it was going to have to be the past one that in that chart that had the helping verb with it. So hopefully that was fairly easy for you. Now, after you were done with that, I need for you to go and look for lesson 22 on RenWeb, and that's going to be more irregular verbs. And so we will pick up the lesson there.